Right, hi guys. So you're probably wondering from my name on YouTube who I am. Yes, I am Mrs. Kataria's daughter, and no, I definitely don't get paid for making these videos. If you like the video, stay tuned till the end. So, we're going to learn about the cosine rule today. My understanding is that Miss Katari has already taught you about the sine rule. Now, you should know already from the sine rule, but here's a recap if you don't. That opposite the angle capital A is the length little a. Opposite the angle capital C is the length little c. Opposite the angle capital B, so we always denote the angles with a capital, and the lengths with little b, or the smaller letters. So here is a formula for the cosine rule. It's not hard, it's quite easy. Don't panic, it's already been given to you in your formula booklet in your exam. If you happen to do this paper in school or whatever, when you ever go back after the quarantine, you will still have the formula given to you. But I don't think it's that hard to memorize anyway. So let's start. So if you want to work out either of the angle A or length A, you're going to have to start off with A. So I would do A squared equals B squared plus C squared. So this length squared equals the square of the other two lengths minus 2 of what you have on the right side, BC, cos of the length or the letter you started off with. Done. So pause this video and try it for B squared and C squared. Now, once you've paused it and you've tried it, which is what I recommend because maths is all about doing, let's have a look. I'll do C squared first because it's a bit like Pythagoras, it's like you're not really learning anything more. C squared is A squared plus B squared, so far so just like Pythagoras, minus 2AB cos of what you started with. Okay, so try again for B squared if you think you got it wrong, and pause my video. For the others, B squared is A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cos of capital B. Okay, and that's it, that's the sine rule. It's not that bad, is it? Right, now let's have a look at some of the examples. So here's my first example that I would like to do. Okay, you've got to work out this angle, capital A. So can you guess what formula I will be using? So write it down, pause my video and write down the formula that I'll be using. I'll be using A squared equals B squared minus plus C squared minus 2BC cos of what I started with. Can you guess what comes next? Well, just plonk in the values, no? So you know A squared, you know B squared, you know C squared. Actually, another thing to notice is when you use the cosine rule, all three sides are given to you. Or when you're working out an angle in a cosine rule, all three sides will be given to you. And that's how you know you've got to use the cosine rule. So let's just plonk in the values really. 11 squared is A squared, B squared is 13 squared, C squared is 12 squared, minus 2 times B, which is 13, times C, which is 12, cos of A. I don't know A, so I'm just going to keep writing it. Another thing to note is this is its own term, this is its own term, this is its own term, and this is a whole term because it's being multiplied, remember. So let's go back to it, and excuse my handwriting, I've recently bought this tablet that I haven't really gotten used to yet, so hopefully I will do soon. So 11 squared is 121, put it in your calculator, 169 plus 144, and 2 times 13 times 12 is 312 cos A. Again, a thing to notice is that this is its own term, own term, own term, and its own term. Lots of kids make the mistake of doing 169 plus 144 minus 312. Don't be that kid. So, moving on. 121 equals 169 plus 144, which is 313 minus 312 cos A. Again, you cannot do 313 minus 312 because these are separate terms. This is a number and this has cos A attached to it, so you can't collect these terms. Okay, so what would you do now? Any ideas? Anyone know what we should do? Because I want to get A on its own. That's what I'm trying to find out. Right, so I'm going to get rid of 313 by taking it away from both ends. So 121 minus 313 in your calculator, negative 192 is equal to negative 312 cos A. Now, if you're really clever, you would notice the minuses can be taken off and you can make it a plus. Can you guess what I need to do next to get A on its own? I will divide by 312. And when you do that on your calculator, which you should be on your calculator working this with me as you go along, and that's 0.615 something something something. I'm going to keep that number in my calculator, cos A. Now I want A. How do I get rid of the cos? A lot of you are probably thinking you divide by cos. Kind of, yes. But when I divide by cos on both sides, what am I really doing? So I'm doing cos inverse of the number in your calculator. You can do cos inverse by doing shift cos on your calculator. And when you do that, A equals to 52.02 degrees. Okay, so I know this is quite long-winded, it's quite long, but it's not that hard once you know what you're doing. It's just basically subbing in values and working it out, like equations. 4 or 5 marks in an exam and easy enough to be in your bag. Let's have a look at another example, which is very slightly different. Now, why it's different is because it doesn't have ABC denoted on it. And you can denote ABC in whatever way you want. It doesn't matter. So if I call this capital A, this will be little a. I'll denote this as capital B, and this will be little b. I'll denote my theta, that's what I'm trying to find, as C, and this as little c. Can you guess what formula I will be using? So if you can guess the formula I'll be using, write it down. I'm hoping you've written it down or you're pausing my video because I can't wait. I'm going to write it down. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. Okay, and that's it. So I'm now going to do what? I'm actually just going to be subbing in my values. C squared is 6 squared. A squared is 8 squared. B squared is 10 squared. Minus 2 times A, which is 8. B, which is 10. Cos C, or cos theta, whatever you like. Now, just a reminder, you can do this in your exam or in your working out if it helps you. This is a separate term, separate term, separate term, and with the minus, this is a separate term. So 6 squared is 36 equals 64 plus 100 minus 2 times 8 times 10, which is 160 cos C. Now again, just a reminder, this is a separate term, and a separate term, okay? So 64 plus 100, 164 minus 160 cos C. How do I get rid of 164? Just minus it, because it's positive from both sides. 36 minus 164 is a negative 128. Negative 160 cos C. If you're really clever, do you know what you do from both sides? You get rid of this minus, okay? And then how do you get C on its own? What's the process? Remember, I'm dividing by 160. And we have 0.8 equals cos C. How do I get C on its own? That's right, you do shift cos to get cos inverse of 0.8. And that would give you 36.9 degrees. Okay, and that's the end of my second example. Now, if you like my video or you think that it remotely helped you, I would appreciate a like. And to keep you tuned, because I know it's a hard time for everyone around the world, I do want to say how proud I am of all of you who are working so hard at home trying to do advanced trigonometry, the cosine rule. Now, if Miss Kataria says to, or Mrs. Kataria, your teacher, says to me that so-and-so has been working really well, I might actually treat you to some answers. So I might tell you, so if you want to know anything about Mrs. Kataria or some secrets that I can let out, give him a shout on the comment box below and maybe I can answer some of them for you. Okay? All right then.